we got Josh, right?
Yeah, he's just in now.
All right. Josh is going to have to take some real good notes. It's going to be a little difficult for me to take normal notes. So especially I'm using a sheet that's a little scribbled on.
Recording in progress.
Okay, you heard that, Josh?
And John Yang just got on.
Okay, you're unmuted. Great.
So Highland just got let in. Okay.
Kent.
Yeah, Kent, I think he went dark on purpose. Oh. Kent, you cut your camera off on purpose?
No. What did I do? Oh, start video?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
All right. Anywho, we got people on?
Yes.
Yeah.
The gang's all here.
We're all here.
Josh, are you ready to go?
We're all ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if you had a chance to hear Kent earlier, Josh. He's on the road, so you're going to have to take really good notes.
Yeah, and I apologize. I did not see an email with the agenda. So, Bobby, if you don't mind, then just going down the agenda list as we go through the meeting then, okay?
Okay.
And then when we get to the nuisance properties, at least I have that and I can work on that.
Okay. Okay, so Lindsay, you could go to the first agenda item, which is
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Whoa.
okay, guys. Welcome to the June Landlord Compact meeting. Today we don't have a guest speaker, and we're not going to go through the full round of introductions. Most of us know each other on the call. If you're new and your address comes up, please let us know that you're present, and we'll allow you time to respond to the complaints that's made against your property after MPD and DNS has given their update or input as to our inquiry about what's going on. So we're going to start right now with nuisance properties.
Okay, welcome everybody. As soon as we're ready with the first.
Almost there. Okay, here we go. 2820 West Wells Street.
All right. Calls for service.
All right, for 2820 West Wells, we had 1 threat, 1 trouble subject, and 1 911 abuse for a total of 3 nuisance eligible calls.
DNS.
We have the fire inspection orders that the inspector is working with management to get that taken care of.
Okay. Bobby, I can handle calling out the addresses. I just didn't think I was going to see the agenda.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. No problem. Go ahead, Kent.
All right. Before we go any further, is anybody here from Berrada Properties?
Yes, Beth.
Beth? Hi, Beth.
Can you hear
How
me?
are you?
Yeah. I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. In the Windy City for the day.
Oh, well, nice for you.
Yeah, well, it's business, not it's business,
That's
not
too bad.
pleasure. All
That's
business.
too bad.
I know. Okay. 3017 West Highland, calls for service.
All right, at 3017 West Highland, we had 1 threat for a total of 1 nuisance eligible call.
DNS.
Nothing from DNS.
731 North 25th.
We had 1 nuisance or noise nuisance for 1 nuisance eligible call.
Interior orders for DNS.
Interior. Okay, I believe that, I believe that's it. Just that we had just the 3 Berrada properties. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. You know, I want to say, Beth, that, that is good to see very few nuisance calls on here. I know that you and I, had a little email back and forth with a little information passed over to you.
Yes, we have taken steps to stop that. Warnings all around. Anyone is seen drinking publicly will be fired.
Oh.
Okay, okay.
And I will say, when I get a complaint from anyone, we are very quick on giving warnings to everybody. So I hope I don't know if you realize the inner working. So we do try and alleviate all the problems that we have down at the near west side locations. I don't want
There-
lift.
Yeah, Beth, there's no doubt we've seen the decrease in calls for service, and there are going to be things that sporadically come up now and then. So by no means we're saying that Berrada Properties is an absentee management company that is doing nothing. We're pretty happy. We're pretty happy to see
You're good.
you know, this stuff, but certain things come up and we just want to pass those along to you and let you know, what we see as the community.
I appreciate that too.
I'd like to add, can you guys hear me? Okay, I'd like to add too
Yes,
that
I can.
Beth has been very cooperative with working with the ambassadors and allowing us access to their apartment buildings to hand out material and to do other things to benefit the community. So I'd like to thank her for that as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We want to be partners, active partners. How's that? We want to be active partners in this as well.
Well, thank you, Beth, and we will be making calls to you throughout the summer.
Absolutely. I will always try and answer. If I don't leave a message, I'll call back. Email is always good too.
Okay, thank you. Really appreciate your efforts.
All right.
Very
Yes,
good. Thank you, Beth. And again, just want to reiterate this too, with those emails between Beth and I. One of the things, and this is just not for Berrada properties, for any properties, if we have any concerns or complaints on any locations, we got to try and get photos and we got to log information as to maybe descriptions of people, where they're at, what they're doing, some kind of detail, time. Look, I'm not saying that we're managing for other people, but if we are going to make a complaint, we need to try to get as much information as possible to ownership so they can address that complaint effectively with the information needed to do so. Okay, so with that said, we'll get to the next property, 2848 West Wisconsin. Calls for service.
All right, at 2848 West Wisconsin, we had 1 threat, 2 noise nuisance, and 1 trouble subject for a total of 4 nuisance eligible calls.
DNS.
We have court referred orders.
Kent, I took
Yes.
pictures. I took pictures this last week. They got cars parked on the grass. And they set up shop. They put tables and chairs out there drinking on a daily basis. Is nonstop.
Yeah, I know. I've seen it. I mean, you can go there every day and see it. Is anybody here from Concordia Palmtree Apartments? Okay, that's a no. All right, let's get to 730 North 29th Street. Calls for service.
At 730 North 29th Street, we had 1 fight for a total of 1 nuisance eligible call.
DNS.
Court referred orders.
I didn't see Keith on here, but Lindsay, do we have any update in regards to the 2 properties and grant money, so on and so forth?
A small update. So the Housing Authority of the City of Milwaukee will be issuing an RFP to developers who are interested in applying for project-based vouchers that could be used to redevelop properties like these two. And we anticipate that RFP to be released probably late summer. Unfortunately, it looks like it's not going to be much sooner than that. But we're hopeful that perhaps there's a developer that has their eye on these properties and would utilize those vouchers to make some improvements.
So what I'm understanding is until the RFP is actually available, near West Side is not going to make any attempt or of acquisition until that time and place to prepare for a possible new owner?
I can tell you, yeah, no, Near West Side Partners is not acquiring these properties. If that is, I want to make that very clear. Yeah, no.
So how would they be up for sale when the RFP is set up?
So
Meaning that, how are we going to force the ownership to sell?
well, my understanding is that there is a developer who is already in conversations with the owner,
Okay,
which is independent of anything happening at Near West Side Partners. So it's a private deal. And we're hopeful that, assuming this developer can secure those vouchers, that sale will go through.
answers my question. Thank you very much.
Ken, I have a question for MPD on that property. Well, on both of these properties, do you know if the captain is currently working with management of these properties? Because if I'm not wrong, they are qualified to be nuisance properties at this moment, right?
So I've been in contact with Sam, who's the owner. I actually plan on contacting him again, and me and my partner were discussing maybe doing a walkthrough and trying to get DNS involved. We did do a walkthrough with some other like Jomela properties, and that was helpful. So we're thinking about doing that, especially for the 2848 West Wisconsin building.
I think we would all love to see that, regardless of what the future might hold for these properties. I think taking care of what's happening there now is of utmost importance.
Yeah, we had actually just discussed it this morning that we want to do a walkthrough there, because I know some other officers had an issue as well there. So we'll be doing some work with the owner, contacting them again and trying to get that set up.
See, the scary thing is, and once John has said there's court referred orders, we got a lot of fines coming down the line for these guys. And only way for them to offset these fines is to generate income, which means renting to tenants and trying to collect as much income as possible. So, because obviously this has been done before. Things were really quiet when the buildings were practically empty, but we see more and more people coming and going, and that might be their strategy to offset their income loss with these fines, is to have tenants in there paying rent, which is scary because we know they're not screening anybody. Okay. Next property, 835 North 23rd Street, calls for service.
He had one armed robbery for a total of one nuisance eligible call at 8:35.
Anybody here for Jomela Properties today? Okay, note that no one represented Jomela Properties today's meeting. DNS?
Hello,
Interior.
you guys hear me?
Hello. Kayla? Kayla, is that you?
Caleb, we're really having difficulty hearing you, and I think we're actually getting some feedback from whatever device you're using. If it would be possible to mute yourself. Thank you.
Okay, until we got Kayla back on here, let's continue. So calls for, I'm sorry, DNS 835 North 23rd.
Interior orders for that one?
3345 West Highland, calls for service.
So we have one theft and one trouble with subject for a total of 2 nuisance eligible calls.
Interior for that one as well?
Kayla, are we back? Got it figured out? Oh, I just saw something go across my screen. I'm sorry.
They don't have a mic. They're muted.
Oh,
It said
Okay.
they're on the line. They don't have a mic. They're
Yeah,
muted.
someone muted me after I unmuted myself, so I don't know what happened there.
okay. Hi, Kayla. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Hey,
Good,
Kayla.
Got
Hey.
a question for you, that we're on 3345 West Highland. There was some information we got in regards to a new renter that was on either a city or county housing program, who signed a lease.
Okay.
And so the question was, we know that at one point you had mentioned that you were not working with any of the normal or your past program services anymore at all your locations, that you were working towards removing them actually when their leases or your obligations have come up. Was just wondering about this last person that came in.
Do you have a unit number?
I do not. Do we have a name or a building?
Okay.
Well, we know what to,
Yeah,
ahead.
I don't want to disclose the name of the person.
That's
I don't know the program, but I do know it is a program. And I'm sorry, Kayla, this is me, Bobby McQuaid.
yeah. Hey, Bobby.
Hey.
Yep.
And it's just from being out in the community, I noticed a couple of things, and I was able to contact a gentleman that moved in that building, and he had mentioned he was there through a program. So I didn't get much information about it, but I do know that we had talked previously. And oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to, you just hop in so I can explain a few things here. So number one, if the program itself, whether it's the guest house, pathfinders, community advocates, et cetera, if they are in a current lease, they can move their clients in and out. So while they may have removed someone for whatever reason on their end, they could still move someone else in because they're still under contract with Jomela. We can't basically like remove that contract. Number one. Number two, so if there's someone new that's living there, it's not someone that we gave a new unit to a program. It's because they already had that existing unit and moved one of their clients out and a new one back in. Number two, we are not renewing any ones that have had any issues. If they have no issues, we've had no calls, they've been there, the history is there. Those ones we're still allowing to stay. We're not allowing any new ones, and we are cutting ties with any that have had any complaints. So that's part of it. Second part is that these are just for these type of programs where the unit is in the tenant's name. If they are a city or a county rent assistance tenant having, no lease with another program, those ones are still allowed into our units. Those ones we do full background check, we check income, we check all of those items, whereas we cannot with these programs. So city and county rent assistance were never on that part of not allowing the rentals. It was solely the programs that have the units in their name, which kind of makes us lose control as the landlord or that client.
Right.
And we can't process background. That's on them. So those are the ones we don't allow any new, every single one that's eligible to be like evicted or vacated at the time, like as their lease contract comes up, those are gone. And then any ones that we haven't had any issues, like we have some long-term ones that haven't caused issues, those are allowed to stay, but we don't allow any new.
So let me ask you this with that. Very understandable. We get it. Two questions. One, are most of these contracts with the programs coming due this year, 2021? And when you say that there are people that have not caused any problems, 2-3 year history, that may be in a program, what if that person moved out for whatever reason? Not you didn't ask them, but if they moved out, but now there's still a continual contract because you continued it to keep the good tenant. Now they can move anybody in?
Yeah, they can move anyone in, yes. So how
Aren't
that
you
would work is how we've done it previously. I'm sorry, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. So, if they have someone that's there, like, and they move someone out, I've been asking the programs to make sure to like keep us looped in. I'm not familiar with which one you're even talking about at 3345, so I would have to go back and look. There's a chance that they might not have even told us who they swapped. The goal here is to push for to be gone. I don't know of many that we're keeping, but a lot of them expire between August 1st and November 1st. The other side to that too is we're not allowing this for every program. So community advocates in the guest house are two that we work very closely with, as well as pathfinders, that the communication has always been super solid there. So if we say, hey, we're having issues with this one, like they're more inclined to try and move these because we've been saying like, we're just going to have to evict you where we haven't done that in the past because we don't want to tarnish that partnership with them. But they also understand that if it's causing issues in our building, something has to give there. So it's kind of like, it's really case by case basis. I prefer to push them out, but if I have no history of any issues, it's kind of like we're just going to continue to let them stay. And then if they were to move someone in that would cause disturbances, then we push for eviction on that. And we can still evict the program, and they're aware of that. We're not messing around with this type of stuff. Like we're letting these ones stay because we haven't had issues. But if there are any issues, then you either have to rehome them or we have to file eviction.
Right. Okay. Just want to get an understanding and a clarity because it just seemed like there was our original conception was that you were just done with it completely because of all the hassles and stuff like that. So we just wanted a little clarity on that.
Yeah.
But so that you're still willing to take some risk on program moving somebody out or somebody voluntarily.
Well, I don't have a choice at this point because the last time we talked about this was last year, and this was towards the end of the year. So at that point, the contracts were already going through this year. So there's nothing I can do with those besides event.
Kayla, I'll just put the specific parameters on it. So contract for whatever program ends, we'll say August 31st. And you've currently in this particular program lease with a current tenant that's been there for 2 years with no problems, decides to move out. No, I take that back. Lease contract for the program ends in June. All right. You got a good tenant, no problem. At this point, you need to extend the contract, right, for another year with the program to keep the good tenant in there, right?
Yeah, I understand where you're going with this. I understand that, but I think it is ultimately up to Jomela as well to make that decision, as it is our building. So if there is something that comes up, then it's, it's us that has to evict. It's us that has to take the time. So.
Okay. Wait, again, we're just understanding. We're not trying to tell you what to do or how to do anything. We're just trying to understand how your programs are working and identifying the parameters of this, so you extend certain programs for another year because you have a good tenant in there, correct?
Correct.
Okay. That's all. That's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Bobby, I don't think you have anything else, right?
No, that was perfect clarification. Thanks, Kayla, for providing that information to us.
Yep.
I was,
You're
as
welcome.
Kim indicated, I was just under the impression that you guys were done with program housing.
Okay, sounds good. Let's get to the next location, 2803 West Kilbourn, calls for service.
For 2803 West Kilbourn, there's 0 nuisanceable calls.
Excellent. DNS,
Nothing from DNS.
1143 North 29th Street, calls for service.
At 1143 North 29th Street, we had an entry, a threat, a noise nuisance, a trouble subject, and a battery for a total of 5 nuisanceable calls.
DNS?
Exterior orders.
You got it. Go ahead.
Sorry, MPD, what was the last call you got?
A battery.
Better, thank you.
Fugitive apprehension unit was there and took a shooting suspect out of apartment 103. And the other guy involved in the shooting came and sped away and fled. They had to sit there all day and get a search warrant to go in to retrieve shell casings and bullets, and there was heroin, methamphetamine pipe. This is the same apartment building where the guy was doing the burglaries at Marquette was hanging out last month.
We were never able to confirm that he was with 1143 though. When you and I spoke, you gave me the information. I checked the name and there was nothing,
Yeah,
I had no name associated with that.
Yeah, but he's staying at apartment 103.
But there's been no determination. They might say that they're staying there. We've had security go through. There was nothing found on our end with someone being in unit 103. So you could say that they might have had association there, but it's not definitive.
Okay.
Oh, wait, Lucas, did you say they found heroin and pipe and shell casings in the
Yes.
apartment 103?
Yes, and they arrested the individual in there for a shooting, and his the other guy that was in there with him but had left out pulled up during the raid, and he sped off.
Yeah, there was nothing that was actually provided to Jomela indicating any of that. I know that you and I spoke, Lucas, previously about a potential
No,
association.
Taylor, this was just this week on Monday.
Okay, yeah, I'm just saying I didn't know.
Oh,
Okay.
your maintenance man came. I let him know when he came through because he's walking the fire inspector through from DNS.
Okay.
All right, 103, got it. 2920 West Highland, calls for service.
All right, at 2920 West Highland, we had 1 theft for a total of 1 nuisanceable call. Also, we are getting pulled to take calls because the district is a little bit busy right now. So I don't know how long, if I can stay for the discussion, I can quick give all of the nuisance calls for you guys.
Okay, why don't
Head out.
we do this? Yep, we can accommodate, not a problem. Why don't we
Okay.
go down, continue down your list and just let me know we'll stop the slideshow right now and give me an address and give me calls for service. And let's just go down and we'll note them.
Okay, sounds good. So for the next one, 2809 West Highland, we had 1 threat, 1 entry, 1 trouble with subject, and 1 subject with weapon for a total of 4 nuisanceable calls at that address.
Okay, next.
3120 West Wisconsin, we had 1 threat for a total of 1 nuisanceable call.
Okay,
3128 West Wisconsin, we had a 911 abuse for a total of 1 nuisanceable call.
okay,
2448 West Kilbourn, we had 1 noise nuisance for a total of 1.
got it.
2501 West Kilbourn had 0.
Okay,
2743 West Highland had a trouble with subject and a threat for a total of 2 nuisanceable calls.
got it.
1134 North 33rd Street had 0. 1138 North 33rd had 0.
Got it.
4023 West Vliet had 0.
Okay,
1021 North 24 had 0.
okay,
2936 West Kilbourn had 0.
Got it?
3205 West Juneau had 0.
Got it?
901 North 27 had 0.
Okay,
2903 West Clybourne also had 0.
okay,
930 North 27th Street had 1 shot spotter, 1 fight, 3 trouble with subjects, 1 theft, 1 battery, 1 threat, for a total of 8 nuisanceable calls.
Can you repeat that? Can you repeat that address one more time?
Yep, that's 930 North 27th Street. I believe is that Family Dollar?
Family Dollar.
Yeah.
And then 927 North 27th Street had 0, and 959 North 27th Street had 0.
So you didn't have 2816-18 West McKinley?
I do not have that on my list.
Okay,
I can always look that up later if you guys send me an email.
can somebody send officer an email in regards to that list? And then if she's able to jump back on the meet after taking calls, you can either send us a message on that
Okay.
or
Which
jump
address
in.
is that again, Kit?
2816-18 West McKinley.
16-18. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, I'm not able to stay for the discussion. If you guys have any questions, just email mpd3@milwaukee.gov. I know that the Family Dollar is a huge issue, and me and my partner are going to discuss some strategies for that. So maybe doing more walkthroughs or just a specific walkthrough of that one. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, just email us.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. All right, so let's get back to 2920 West Highland. We got 1 nuisance call, DNS.
We just have the sprinklers for that one.
Okay,
Is it for me to be on Jomela at 20, or do we have one more?
that's it, Kayla.
Okay, just a couple real quick things. 835 for that armed robbery. I was in contact with MPD. We're aware of it. I don't know if anyone else in the area is familiar with a gentleman named, well, not really a gentleman, but a guy named Blue that we don't have his actual name, but I do have photos of him that I'm happy to send over. He's been trespassed from our buildings multiple times and was gone for a while and now came back. He's been identified as the person that caused the robbery, as far as we know. So if anyone wants any information there. And then regarding 1143 North 29th Street, we did just do a walk through with MPD. I wasn't present for that one. I had my employees, Tyler and Travis, there. I don't know if I should direct this to P.O. Hudson or if I should say it here to MPD or whatever, but they requested an entire walkthrough of the building. We got prepared for this walkthrough with DNS, did 12 hours for every notice, made sure that everyone's time was available to do the walkthrough, and then they got there and basically just said that they only wanted to go to 2 units and they didn't want to go to any other units. So it was a little bit frustrating on our end just because, we're trying to accommodate and be a good management company and work with MPD in terms of getting them in there. And then it's like, we get them in there and it was, both of my employees were kind of frustrated by it. Like they were ready to walk through. They went through and walked everything themselves, but the MPD presence would have been nice and what we had planned on. So just making a note there. I know that there were 5 nuisance calls. So, I think having them go through.
Can I ask you, were you working with the CPU team or the community liaison officers?
It was P.O. Hudson.
Okay, that's CLO. Okay.
Kayla, the name of the
I'm just going to jump in. It's Kelly. That's not the CLO. That's one of the CPU officers. And the CPU is who's working with them on the issues.
Officer Hudson is not a CLO officer?
No.
Okay.
So Kayla, the name of alias Blue is Roderick Bartlett, Bartlett. Don't ask me where I get my information from because I'm not
Okay.
going to tell you.
No, that's fine. That's helpful to know. I'll pass that on to security so they're aware as well. Do you guys need photos at all, or do you have photos? If you want me to forward what I have from our previous interactions, I'm happy to do so.
I have a photo that you guys got posted in your lobby of Blue.
Okay.
And I'll pass that on to Bobby.
Thank you.
Okay. Perfect.
She said she didn't.
All right. How do I get back to? Oh, never mind. All right. That's the problem with working on your phone. All right. Good. Kayla, thank you very much. Are we done with Jomela Properties?
I've got nothing to add.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Kayla.
Thanks.
Next property here. What do we got on the slideshow? Who's manning the slideshow?
Elizabeth is womaning the slideshow, Kent.
All right. 2809 West Highland, Smart Assets. Is anybody here from Smart Assets?
Yes, Joseph is here.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Joseph.
Welcome, Joseph. How are you today?
I'm well, sir. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. All right, so we had 4 calls for nuisance for 2809 West Highland, DNS.
Nothing for this property.
3120 West Wisconsin, we've got 1 nuisance call, DNS.
Interior orders.
3128 West Wisconsin, we've got 1 nuisance call, DNS.
Interior orders.
2448 West Kilbourn,
Fire inspections.
okay. I had thought maybe we took them off. I had thought we put the Michigan properties back on, but I guess we did not.
No, they should be on there. I think we
You
did.
got 'em down?
I thought we took them off too. That was the list that I hadn't confirmed, but then I got 2 pictures sent to me, so I just to be safe, I went ahead and added them to the end of the resident list.
Got it. Perfect. All right. Next property on the slide, sorry. 2501 West Kilbourn, 0 calls, DNS.
Nothing from DNS.
Don, how long can those windows be boarded up on those 2 apartments, 2nd floor? It's been
So
like 3
if it's vacant, and they're making active repairs, it technically could stay that way.
This is where the guy committed the homicide in the alley. He shot 2 people, including himself, and the other guy died. He's in custody now, but the 2 apartments up there the 1 apartment he was staying in and the one right next door, they're both boarded up. And it's been like that for like 3 months. And they're not doing any work. They just boarded them up because they didn't want anybody coming back.
Is it my understanding, John, that as long as it isn't a safety issue and a 1st floor, again, a safety issue, there's really no time limit on board up?
On an apartment building?
Yeah, Kent would be right, and that's sort of a little bit of a fine line where, we understand we want to fix things up and beautify everything, but if it's sitting vacant, it's sort of the way that the code is written for the city of Milwaukee.
And if it's not historical, you got no leverage to force an owner to do it. I believe. Okay. Sorry, Richard.
All right.
All right, 2743 West Highland, is that our next, yep, our safe place, calls for service. We had 2 nuisance calls, DNS.
Nothing from DNS.
Okey doke. Next slide.
Is Mr. Lisk on this call? He said that he would be on this call.
Can you hear me?
Vaguely.
My audio is very poor. You guys are breaking up. It's very difficult to hear you guys. I don't know what to do here. Let's see.
Yeah, you're all crackly, Mr. List.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Resuming.
This is about as good as I can, as clear as I can get, I think. Are you there?
Yeah. Just for the record, guys,
we're aware of the issue here. And we have the,
You know, this, sorry, Mr. List, this isn't gonna work out. Mr. List, this isn't gonna work out for communication. Can we reach, Bobby, can somebody reach out to Mr. List and get his information? Because we're gonna waste our time not being able to hear each other.
No problem, Ken. I've been in communications with Mr. Lisk already.
No worries,
And I'll
Mr.
reach out to him after this. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries, Mr. List. All right, 1134 North 33rd Street. There was 0 calls. DNS.
Interior orders.
1138 North 33rd Street. I believe yep. No calls for service. DNS.
Nothing from DNS.
Okay, what do we got for the next property? 4023 West Vliet. There were 0 calls. DNS.
Nothing from DNS.
Next property. 1021 North 24th Street. 0 nuisance calls. DNS.
Nothing from DNS.
Wow, this is one that we really find hard to believe. When we were talking to the owner of 5 O'Clock Steakhouse, sent emails and photos of shots that was fired that he witnessed within 60 feet of him. So it's hard to believe that there was no calls for services there.
I think, Ken, I think he called and used his address and not 1021 North 24th Street. Because I have security guards there, and there was shots fired and the fence was hit. The building was struck.
Well, somebody's going to have to follow up then with CPU, then get them the address of the complainant, and then find out if there's documentation related to 1021.
Yeah, Castillo, I think he doesn't want to push the issue because he has to stay there. And these people, you know, they'll like night and day, they'll be there today and be gone tomorrow. But he still has to work there and live there, so.
So we obviously sent information of this happening to the owner. Have we gotten anything in response?
Not at this time. I haven't received any letter.
Okay.
And there's been more than one incident at that house in the last 60 days with shots fired and fighting. So,
okay.
Did you hear me?
Yep, got it.
All right.
And I do know some of that information. I have not gotten any pictures, but some information was forwarded on to me. So the CPU team we've discussed it and we'll start looking into it. But with the calls for service, if they're not tied to that location, as you guys know, in terms of nuisancing, that's not something that can be done. But we are aware of the issues that have been reported and are looking at other options.
Okay. All right. So let's get that address so that we can link the two together. next property, 2936 West Kilbourn, 0 nuisance, DNS.
Interior orders.
Next slide. 3205 West Juneau, 0 nuisance, DNS.
Nothing from DNS.
Next slide. 2319 West Michigan Street, S2 Real Estate. Again, I'm sorry, you still there?
Mr. Gilmore? Is Smart Assets?
No.
Well, S2 Real Estate, but
Okay.
there is some similarity. Joseph, are you still with us?
Joseph stepped away, but I'm still here.
Okay. And who are you?
My name is Braden. I'm with Smart
Braden.
Asset as well.
Okay. Do you have any involvement with S2 Real Estate at all?
My assumption is that's an owner that we represent, and then we manage the building. I'm double checking in our system right now.
Okay.
It's not coming up for us right now.
As you can see in that picture with the Hennessy bottle, that's a daily occurrence out there with the doors propped open.
Okay. S2 Real Estate's not coming up, nor is 2319 West Michigan. So I don't see that as one we're managing.
So who would, and maybe you don't know this, but I know there is a link between ownership and management, but S2 Real Estate, do you know who that entity is or who's in charge of S2 Real Estate by chance?
That is not coming up in my system right now either.
Is it
And I
S2
just-
Sam Steer?
Sam Stair.
That's what I thought.
Probably a long time. There's some stuff sold and now got this.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's us at all.
Okay. All right. Do we know who we sent the letter to for 2319 and 2327 Michigan?
I had to check the address that we sent it to.
Okay.
Right now, the ambassadors are not here, so they would know off the top.
All right. All right, we'll come back to this. John, did you have this on your list? John?
So I'm looking it up. It wasn't on my list, but I looked it up. There's nothing here DNS says.
Okay.
I don't have any properties on Michigan on the list that I received.
Okay.
Just to clarify, both these Michigan lists, the addresses were not on our confirmed list from the pre-meeting, but they were sent to me yesterday morning. So I just threw them on as a precaution. So we could skip both Michigans if you really want to.
And then, well, let's go to the next photo. We got anything good on that one? 23, 27? No, nobody out there today. Okay. All right, we'll get back to these two locations after we get a hold of S2 Real Estate. All right, next slide. Thanks, Josh. And then we're at the nuisance businesses.
Kit, I just want to circle back to Braden. If I'm not mistaken, I think we kind of skipped over Smart Assets after we got the calls for service. Was there anything that you guys wanted to add, Braden?
So Joseph just got back, so I'll give him a minute, but I can add to 2448 West Kilbourn. We had some complaints from tenants on a certain unit. They are in a housing program. We did walk the building and found some issues with the tenants. So we're working on removing them. So hopefully that can help. I did reach out to the city about the fire inspection. So I'll figure out who I need to talk to on that one. We'll get that set up right away. And then we're looking at getting video cameras installed right now. We got a quote, got that in front of the owner. And then we've also doubled up on the garbage pickup over there. And the individuals that are doing our common cleaning, we've asked them to make sure that they're there and doing the outside walk in the entire property, because I know that's been an issue with one of the neighbors in the past. So Trying to do our best to get 2448 West Kilbourn under control. And then
Looks
all
like
fade to
20
the back, 2448 West Kilbourn.
Yeah, it looks like 2809 West Highland had the most calls for four calls. This
I'll let Joseph talk on
Okay,
that one.
I'll jump into that. We did have a young lady, well, she's still living there. She's on the month-to-month lease. Her child's father was released from prison, and he found out where she was. And when he was led into the building, he caused major problems for her. So the PO was contacted, and he won't be doing that again. And plus, since she's on a month-to-month, her worker put in so she could be moved to another location as far as Cudahy. So
Okay.
that should be the issue again.
very good. Thank you for that update.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Businesses, unless DNS has something important, I want to focus just on 930 North 27th Street. We've got 8 calls for service. What have we got for DNS there?
For the Family Dollar, we have the same interior, exterior that are on monthly inspections.
Ken, did you get the video of the security guard fighting with people out in the parking lot? Not once, but twice?
No, I did not. Is there anybody here? Is there anybody here from Family Dollar?
Harry's here from Family Dollar.
Hi, Harry. How are you today?
I'm just great.
Richard, go ahead and Richard, go ahead and give us that info.
The security guard was out in the parking lot fighting with, I guess,
Yeah, it was one. It was. He was fighting with a customer, but the customer did attack him first. The real problem is that this incident kind of went viral on Facebook, and the security guard was back the next day, and the ambassadors interviewed him, and he was it's constantly people coming up to him. So I called Harry and I asked Harry if he could request that that security guard is moved to another location, because I just fear that, he is an armed security guard, and I just wouldn't want to see it escalate to him pulling his gun and shooting someone.
Makes sense.
And we had that security guard. Actually, it was the company that sent them to the that post again, the security company. He has been since removed and placed at a different post. So to try to avoid exactly what we talked about, Bobby. So he's no longer there.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody has shared with you some video, Harry, and I don't know if this is the same security guard.
Ken, you're muted.
You're muted, Ken.
A vehicle that sits lot selling T-shirts and some other stuff, Richard.
Yeah, it was parked right in front, and the security guard sitting right there. They call him the fragrance man. He has a strap on. It's supposed to be holding bullets for a shotgun, but he's got these little vials of fragrance that he sells. And then he has the T-shirts all on the front hood of the car, and he's sitting there selling right at the front door.
Yep. Once that was submitted to me, I went to the store personally that day. I think me and Bobby talked about that as well. And I spoke to that gentleman personally, and they're not parking in front of that building anymore.
Okay, perfect. Very good. Maybe with the security guard gone, somebody new conversation, we can alleviate some of the issues over there. All right, sounds good. Anybody else?
Harry, one last question. Can you give us, do you know the date of you guys' next court hearing?
To my knowledge, it's in August. I don't have the exact date, but I believe it's August, sir. I'll get the date for you, Bobby, and I'll email it or text it to you.
It's
Thanks,
August
Harry.
6th.
Yep.
It's August 6th.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Harry, for joining us today.
No problem, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep. 26th and Kilbourn. Do we have any update on 26th and Kilbourn? John, did you put down the hammer? Did you lock this place up? John, do something. John?
Well, I would do something if I knew what you guys are talking about.
The junkyard.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
John.
I know. I'm just so the Bose application was at a standstill. I know from the last time I informed you guys of what was going on. It's at a standstill, and because it's at a standstill, meaning the applicant hasn't submitted all the required documents. I was given the okay to proceed forward with further enforcement. And that entails the reinspection fees and citations being issued to the owner and to the business.
Okay, okay.
And
Sound-
I note the citations are going to be twice a month. So I already did my first round of citations. So probably within the next week or so, I'll do my second round of citations.
So one of the other things about this junkyard was the suspicion of people living in the trailers.
Yeah.
And there was talk that Penfield may have this video that's available to maybe verify that we've got people there late at night and then not leaving until morning, and kind of a typical residential situation. John, were you aware of that?
So I can bring that up. I know one of the issues that not necessarily with this property, but it sort of relates to people living here, is when I've written orders and citations for other violations that I've seen, it's gotten kicked back to me, and the question has been posed: were we able to see it with your own eyes, everything that was written? So I'm sort of going in a roundabout way, saying although there may be very strong indications of someone living there, the owner did say to me that he's using it as a security shack and not as living quarters. And when I did go out there, I wasn't able to see anyone living there. And the time that I actually went out and did my citations, I was not able to speak to anyone on the property. And I was just doing my inspections from outside the gates. So at least with my inspections, unfortunately, I could not see it with my own eyes to say legitimately there's someone living here.
Is there, I mean, obviously if there was video of this, that would help to confirm the suspicion or not?
I can talk with my management team and with the court manager to see if we would be given the green light for that.
Okay.
But right now I can't say definitively if that would be acceptable or not.
Okay. All right. Well, it's just something to look into. I mean, a trailer, mobile home trailer is something you permanently or temporarily stay in. So it is a living quarters. Yes. Yeah. So you could use it as a security shack, but I guess if there's multiple ununiformed people, children, women, that are going in and not coming out till morning, there's got to be a strong evidence that could portray this as a living quarters and not they want a security guard there overnight to secure their junk. There's got to be some doubt, but yeah, find out what you can, and then we can reach out to Penfield for video.
Okay, will do.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I just want to add, guys, this is also on the alderman's watch list as well.
Sounds good. Do we have any other properties?
Yeah, I just want to give an update about Gear Bears, 927 North 27th Street. Recently, they were denied their liquor license, and this was a renewal. And I thought that it was for a would-be owner, but I was informed that this was actual Gear Bear's renewal license that was denied.
Wow.
So I don't know where that leaves us. I don't know if he's going to appeal that, but again, it has to go in front of the whole council. But if I'm not mistaken, I think he could operate until July if he don't file for an appeal. I think that's maybe Lindsay got more clarification than I, but I think that's where we're at with that.
Yeah, so his license was, they moved to deny it at committee level. It'll go to the common council where a final disposition will be taken. I believe he renewed early, so technically his license extends through the beginning of July. And depending on whether or not he seeks to appeal and any of that good stuff, it could change. It doesn't necessarily mean that it'll be shut down immediately, but we continue to monitor what's going on and we'll update the group here.
All right.
Thanks for that clarity.
Well, today over there, a guy was beating a girl up in the back, and I got flagged down, and then I called Wenzel. By the time he got there, the car sped off across 27th Street in the Wendy's parking lot. The windshield was smashed completely out of the car. He drove through Wendy's lot and then back out on the 27th Street, heading northbound in the wrong direction of traffic. And Wenzel went on the air with it, but nobody could stop the car. He was all the way up by Lisbon. And the girl, there was a girl in the back seat screaming for help as the car went past us.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other business?
I
know
think
we're
that's it.
6 minutes late here. So are we set for next month to do a hybrid, Lindsay, at the Ambassador?
Maybe.
Yes, exciting news. So next month we will be meeting both in person and virtually at the Ambassador Hotel. You will receive an updated invitation with information about where we will be meeting. It is not where we have previously met in person. This is actually in the hotel proper in the basement. So expect to see that coming through soon. If you prefer to continue meeting virtually, that option will be available to you as well.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. With that said, thank you everybody for taking.
One last thing, Ken, I'd like to just make sure that everyone knows, as of now, the moratorium, the eviction moratorium is still set to end for June 30th. I haven't heard anything contradicting that, or I haven't heard of another extension. So I think that everyone should know that. And Know Your Rights training will be offered by Brittany Schoenig from Legal Action, and the tentative date is June 22nd. So if you have some property managers, owners, if you have some tenants that you think really need to have this type of training, please recommend them to come. The training is free, and I think a more informed tenant makes a better tenant.
Hey, can somebody enlighten me on why the mayor, we're not talking about Keith Stanley, we're talking about Assistant Mayor Barrett was on 27th in Wisconsin today?
They had the groundbreaking for the new BRT line, the east-west BRT line on 27th.
Bus rapid transit.
Oh, okay.
It's a big thing.
And it's actually worth sharing here. So in addition to the groundbreaking for east-west BRT, the county is also exploring a north-south bus rapid transit line that would run along 27th Street. And there are some public meetings coming up in July about that route and what it might look like.
Okay.
May I ask how an interested person would attend this tenant rights training? Is there a phone number, a location, email address?
They can contact me and I can organize that with Brittany. We're still working out the location, but hopefully we'll have that figured out in the next day or two.
Thank you.
Hi, Mark. Okay, we're 8 minutes past. I've got to get back. I got to get back to work.
Okay.
Get back to drinking. Get back to drinking.
I'll explain it to you when I get back to Milwaukee. I'm not here drinking.
You're right, Ken.
Next meeting, Elizabeth, the last slide, I believe the next meeting is July 8th. I think that's what it says. Now we can just go to the last one. Yeah,
Yeah.
July 8th. Okay.
That's what it says.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Have
I
a great,
second that.
have a
All right,
great
Ken.
day.